Have you ever felt like you're not alone, even when there's no one else around? Have you noticed small coincidences that seem more like signs than mere chance? The truth is, many people experience subtle phenomena in their daily lives without realizing they could be spiritual manifestations. What if I told you that there are clear signs that angels might be in your home at this very moment? The spiritual world is more present than we imagine. In the rush of everyday life, it's easy to overlook small details. But when you learn to observe, you start noticing patterns that cannot be explained by logic alone. Lights flickering for no reason, an unexplainable sense of peace, a sweet fragrance that appears out of nowhere. None of this happens by accident. The Bible mentions several occasions when angels were nearby, protecting and guiding those who sought God. They don't always appear as we expect, with giant wings and a dazzling light, but they manifest in subtle ways through signs that many ignore. And if you learn to recognize these signs, you can develop an even stronger connection with the divine. If you've ever noticed something unusual in your home, or simply want to understand how angelic presence manifests, then pay close attention. I'm about to reveal 8 clear signs that angels might be around you, protecting and guiding your spiritual journey. And the last sign is one of the most impactful. Many people have experienced it without even realizing it. There are moments when everything around you seems to be falling apart, yet an unexplainable peace fills your heart. It's not the absence of problems, but a silent certainty that everything is under control. This feeling doesn't arise by chance. In Philippians 4:7, it is written that the peace of God surpasses all understanding, guarding the mind and heart. Those who have experienced it know that it is unlike any human tranquility. It's like being in the middle of a storm and still feeling the warmth of the sun inside you. There are moments when everything around you seems to be falling apart, yet an unexplainable peace fills your heart. It's not the absence of problems, but a silent certainty that everything is under control. This feeling doesn't arise by chance. In Philippians 4:7, it is written that the peace of God surpasses all understanding, guarding the mind and heart. Those who have experienced it know that it is unlike any human tranquility. It's like being in the middle of a storm and still feeling the warmth of the sun inside you. Imagine someone facing a great challenge, a decisive interview, a delicate surgery, or a difficult choice. The expected reaction would be overwhelming anxiety, but surprisingly, this person feels a deep serenity, as if being guided by something greater. This peace cannot be explained by logic, but it can be felt in the soul. Many report that in these moments, an invisible force sustains them, as if an angel is there, whispering, "It's going to be okay." This tranquility doesn't depend on circumstances, but on the awareness that God is present. Those who learn to trust in Him experience this serenity in situations that others would find desperate. It's like a sailor who, instead of fearing the storm, trusts the lighthouse that guides him. Well-nurtured spirituality acts as that lighthouse, bringing light even in the darkest nights. And it's not uncommon to see this in real life. Have you noticed how some people go through hardships with an almost supernatural calmness? That's because they understand that true peace does not come from what is seen, but from what is spiritually felt. Jesus, when facing his crucifixion, remained steadfast because he knew there was a greater purpose. This awareness transforms fear into faith and anguish into strength. If you want to experience this peace, practice the habit of prayer and meditation on the Word. It's not about repeating empty phrases, but about creating a real dialogue with God. Moments of silence are also valuable because that is when He speaks. Many have testified that as they seek this spiritual connection, a sense of calm washes over them, as if they were being embraced by the Creator Himself. Another sign that this peace is divine, it's contagious. People who carry this serenity inspire those around them. Have you ever noticed how being near a calm person can soothe even the most restless? That's because true peace is not only felt, but transmitted. It becomes an invisible fortress, protecting not only those who possess it, but also those nearby. And so, this unexplainable serenity becomes confirmation that something greater is taking care of everything. But this is not the only way to notice this spiritual presence. There are even more visible signs, and one of them could be right in front of your eyes, in something as simple as a white feather appearing on your path. Imagine walking absent-mindedly when suddenly a white feather appears in your path. It may seem like an insignificant detail, but for those with spiritual sensitivity, this can be a sign that they are not alone. Throughout history, white feathers have been associated with angelic presence, representing purity and divine protection. They appear at the most unexpected moments, as a subtle reminder that heavenly forces are near. Many people report finding these feathers precisely during times of great uncertainty or doubt. It's as if the heavens send small reminders that everything is being guided. Have you ever been reflecting on an important decision and upon looking down, seen a white feather right there? Coincidence? Maybe. But for those who understand spiritual signs, it's more than mere chance. It's a silent response from God. The Bible often describes angels as messengers who intercede and protect. When Peter was imprisoned, an angel appeared and freed him, bringing light into the darkness, Acts 12:7. Similarly, these small signs in our daily lives can serve as reminders that a higher power is working behind the scenes. Even if our natural eyes don't see, spiritual awareness perceives it. If you have been finding white feathers or any other unexpected sign, take a moment to reflect on what you were feeling at that time. Were you anxious, seeking an answer? Many times, these signs appear to strengthen faith and remind us that divine care is always at work. Spirituality is not just about what you see, but what you feel. And the most interesting part? These signs appear when you least expect them. Some people report that after a sincere prayer, they find a white feather in their room or car without any logical explanation. Others say that during difficult moments, a feather gently lands beside them as if someone were whispering, "I am here." This cannot be ignored. Has it ever happened that you noticed an unexpected glow from the corner of your eye? A small flash of light that appeared out of nowhere and disappeared just as quickly. Many people report seeing unexplained lights at specific moments in life, especially when they are praying, reflecting, or going through challenges. These manifestations could be signs of angelic presence, just as described in Acts 12:7, when an angel illuminated Peter's prison before setting him free. These lights don't have an apparent source. They don't come from lamps or sunlight reflections, but instead appear subtly, like tiny portals of spiritual energy. Some people say they see flashes of white or bluish light in the dark, while others notice a soft glow floating in the room. Science might call this pareidolia or an optical effect, but for those with spiritual awareness, the explanation goes beyond that. If this has ever happened to you, try to remember the context. What was happening at the moment? Were you praying, thinking about God, or deeply in need of help? Often these phenomena arise as reminders that higher forces are paying attention to what's happening in your life. It's not just a visual effect, it's a sign that spirituality is active around you. Some people, during moments of great distress, say they see an unexplained glow in the corner of their room, as if something were there to bring peace. Others claim that after sincerely calling out to Jesus for help, they see tiny glowing dots when they close their eyes, as if a message were being sent. These are small details, but they carry profound meaning. If you want to notice these signs more often, try creating moments of silence and introspection. Reduce distractions, sit in a quiet space, and observe your surroundings. Some people notice these lights while reading the Bible or meditating on God's Word. Others see them during worship or conversations about spiritual topics. When your awareness is open, the signs become clearer. Beyond lights appearing in the environment, some people see them in dreams or visions, receiving messages through them. It's no surprise that many biblical stories involve luminous manifestations. Moses saw a burning bush that was not consumed. Paul had a blinding vision on the road to Damascus. Light has always been a symbol of divine presence, and this presence doesn't just manifest visually. Sometimes it is felt in the body, like a sudden change in temperature, a comforting warmth or an unexpected shiver that arises from nowhere. Have you ever felt an unexpected wave of warmth or cold? A sudden shiver, a breeze that has no explanation, or even a comforting warmth in a room that was previously cold? Many times, these sudden temperature changes are not just climate variations, but signs of spiritual presence. In the Bible, divine manifestations often involved elements of nature, such as the gentle breeze that Elijah felt when God revealed himself to him. Some people report feeling an inexplicable warmth in their chest during prayer, as if they were being wrapped in something greater. Others notice a sudden chill when entering certain places or talking about spiritual matters. This happens because heavenly presence is not limited to what is seen, but also to what is felt. Spirituality can be perceived physically, bringing subtle sensations that indicate something invisible is nearby. If this has happened to you, try to remember the moment. Were you talking to God, feeling the need for direction? Many people report feeling an unexplainable warmth when they pray with faith, as if they were being embraced by something unseen. This warmth does not come from the environment but from within, like a spiritual response. Other times, a sudden chill can signal a change in atmosphere, as if something were being transformed around them. And it's not just ordinary people who report these experiences. In spiritual gatherings, pastors, intercessors, and religious leaders often mention that while ministering or praying for someone, they feel an intense warmth in their hands, as if they are channeling something divine. This has been witnessed on multiple occasions, showing that faith can be physically felt. If you want to test this spiritual perception, pay attention to when these changes occur. During deep worship, an inspiring reading, or a conversation about Jesus, you may feel a shiver or a change in body temperature. These are signs that something is happening beyond what your eyes can see. The spiritual consciousness expands when you begin to notice these small details. And these signs do not appear by chance. They are subtle touches to awaken our awareness, reminding us that we are connected to the divine. The Bible mentions that God manifested himself through fire, wind, and even a gentle breeze. The question is, are we paying enough attention to notice when this happens to us? And sometimes this spiritual presence doesn't just manifest through temperature, but also through the very air. An unexpected fragrance, a sweet aroma that appears without explanation, as if the atmosphere were infused with something celestial. Has it ever happened that you smelled a sweet fragrance in the air with no apparent source? A floral or incense-like scent that appears out of nowhere, as if the environment had been touched by something invisible. Many people report experiencing this, especially during prayer, reflection, or when seeking comfort. In the Bible, aromas have deep significance. In Exodus 30, God commanded the use of sacred incense as a symbol of his presence. This phenomenon can happen at the most unexpected moments. Imagine being alone, reflecting on a problem, and suddenly sensing a soft floral fragrance or something resembling the perfume of an altar. No candles lit, no perfume bottles nearby, just a fragrance that seems to appear from nowhere. For those with spiritual sensitivity, this can be a sign of angelic presence, a subtle touch from God saying, "I am here." Many people report that these aromas appear when they are in deep prayer or asking for a divine answer. It's as if heaven were sending an olfactory sign to reassure and strengthen faith. Just as music can elevate the soul and light can guide the way, Spiritual aromas also play a role in connecting with the divine. They bring peace, protection, and even renewal. And this is nothing new. In Christian tradition, many saints and spiritual leaders have witnessed this phenomenon. Historical accounts mention that people of great faith, like Padre Pio and Saint Teresa, exuded inexplicable perfumes during intense moments of prayer. The aroma was perceived by those around them as if it were a testimony of divine presence acting in the environment. If this has ever happened to you, observe the context. What were you feeling at that moment? What were you thinking about? Many times these signs come as subtle responses to strengthen faith. The next time an unexpected scent appears, take a deep breath and listen to what your spiritual consciousness is saying. It could be a divine message arriving in a delicate and unexpected way. Have you ever felt like you weren't alone, even though you were physically by yourself, as if there was a presence near you, bringing comfort and security? Many people report experiencing this, especially during prayer, challenges, or deep reflection. In the Bible, Psalm 91 speaks about divine protection and the presence of angels who accompany those who trust in God. This presence, though invisible, can be felt in an intense way. This sensation is not just imagination. Some people say that in difficult moments, they felt a gentle chill or an invisible embrace, as if someone was there to offer support. Others say that while praying, they feel a warmth beside them, as if a spiritual presence is listening attentively. This can happen at any moment, but is most common when spirituality is being cultivated sincerely. If this has happened to you, try to remember the circumstances. Were you seeking answers, going through a moment of sadness or distress? Many people say this presence becomes more evident when they are emotionally vulnerable, as if God were sending a sign that they are not alone. It's a subtle yet powerful reminder that spiritual forces accompany us. And it's not just ordinary people who experience this. Many spiritual leaders and scholars of faith report moments when they felt an invisible presence near them. Have you ever heard stories of missionaries who, when feeling threatened, sensed they were being guarded by something greater? Or of people who, upon entering a spiritually heavy place, felt an immediate weight in the air, as if something were there? Spirituality manifests in various ways. If you want to develop this perception, start paying attention to the signs, quiet your mind, and focus on what you feel. Sometimes a sudden chill, a feeling of comfort, or a simple intuition is more than just a passing thought. Spiritual awareness strengthens when we start noticing these details, and the more attuned we become, the clearer the signs appear. This sensation of being accompanied can also bring messages. Some people report that after asking God for an answer, they feel a soft touch on their shoulder or a chill running down their spine. There is no logical explanation, but the message is clear. You are not alone. This is the essence of faith, trusting in what the eyes cannot see, but the soul recognizes. And the signs continue to appear in different ways. Besides this feeling of being accompanied, another intriguing indication of spiritual intervention is when improbable coincidences repeatedly happen, guiding your life in surprising ways. Has it ever happened that you thought of something and shortly after it happened? Or that you found exactly the answer you needed at the right moment in a way that seemed almost impossible to be a mere coincidence? This kind of event is called synchronicity, when circumstances align so perfectly that they seem to be orchestrated by something greater. In the Bible, we see this clearly in the story of King Ahasuerus in Esther 6, where a chance event changed the destiny of an entire people. Many people report that when they are seeking an answer, certain signs start to repeat. It could be a Bible verse that appears multiple times in a day, a specific word that shows up in different conversations, or even meeting someone unexpectedly who gives exactly the advice needed. These are moments that defy logic but make perfect sense for those with spiritual awareness. And it's not just small daily events. Major transformations can happen through these meaningful coincidences. There are stories of people who received unexpected opportunities at the exact moment they needed them, or who avoided accidents due to an unexplained delay. For those who believe, these are not mere accidents, they are divine interventions guiding the way. If this has happened to you, reflect. What was the context? Many times these signs appear when we are seeking direction or going through moments of uncertainty. God has mysterious ways of guiding us, and one of them is aligning events that to human eyes seem improbable. The problem is that many people ignore these signs and continue living as if everything were purely random chance. If you want to notice more of these synchronicities, practice awareness. Keep a journal of unexpected events and see if patterns emerge. Ask God for guidance and pay attention to the responses that come in subtle ways, through people, messages, texts, or even dreams. When you start noticing, you realize that nothing in life happens by accident. What seems like a simple coincidence may actually be part of something much greater. There are incredible stories of people who followed a gut feeling and ended up in the right place at the right time, leading to life-changing experiences. Those who learn to recognize these signs begin to live more consciously, trusting that there is a spiritual force guiding each step. And speaking of signs from another dimension, one of the most impressive is when angels appear in dreams. Many people have reported vivid experiences where they received messages or revelations that changed their lives. Have you ever had a dream so real that when you woke up, you felt like something spiritual had happened? Dreams and visions are powerful forms of divine communication and have always been used by God to convey messages. In the Bible, figures like Jacob and Joseph received revelations through dreams that completely changed their lives and destinies. Many people report seeing angels in their sleep, bringing peace, warnings, or even answers to important questions. These dreams are not like regular dreams. They carry a different energy, an impressive clarity, and often leave a deep sense of meaning. Some people say they see beings of light, feel a protective presence, or hear words that only make sense later. These are experiences that leave a mark, as if they are more than just creations of the mind, as if they are direct touches from heaven. If you have had this kind of dream, try to remember the details. What was said? How did you feel? Often these visions bring answers to situations we didn't even realize needed attention. And more importantly, spiritual dreams leave a trail of peace, as if confirming that we are being cared for. If you want to better understand these signs, start recording your dreams. Before sleeping, ask God for spiritual clarity and be open to receiving messages. Many times, the answers we seek during the day come at night, when the mind is quiet and the soul can listen more clearly. Final reflection. Are you paying attention to the signs? Now that you know these 8 signs, have you ever stopped to think how many times you might have ignored the presence of angels in your life? Many people go through life without realizing they are surrounded by invisible protection, missing the opportunity to strengthen their connection with the divine. But now that you know how to recognize these signs, what will you do with this information? Maybe it's time to pay more attention to the details, to those little things that seem like coincidences, but might be spiritual messages. Now, tell me in the comments, have you ever experienced any of these signs? Have you felt something inexplicable and now realize it might have been a spiritual manifestation? I want to hear your story. Let's talk about it. And if you want to keep learning more about spirituality, biblical mysteries, and how to strengthen your connection with God, subscribe to the channel now and turn on notifications. There's a lot of powerful content coming that can transform your spiritual journey. Don't miss out. Amen.